Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back here to this Shabbat Live, this Shabbat gathering we are doing every week. It's a blessing to be once again with you to continue the study of the book of Isaiah, YaHuWaH. We welcome you. We see that we have Dave, Debbie, and Kaylee here with us, Jimmy and Maria Isabel. Joy, Steven is also with us, Shannon, Wadai, Heidi.
Steven Jurgelski. I don't know how to pronounce that.
Good. And we saw the comment from Camila. We're praying for her and her family. It's beautiful to be with you in a day of rest. And with a portion that we are going to talk about the set apart one of Israel, is going through the chapter 17 to chapter 20.
Yeah.
Yes. And, we were just reading the portion with Lillian. It's not an easy one because it's a lot of secrets and mysteries from YaHuWaH. But we will see what the Ruach is bringing to the heart to share with you. And the invitation always is that you can share your thoughts and what the Ruach is putting in your heart regarding this portion in the chat. That's the way that we are able to grow together in the knowledge of the kingdom of YaHuWaH. Many things are going on in the world. We were taking a look in the news. It's unbelievable and crazy how things are speeding up. But this should give us some expectation and hope that we are living in these times, last days. And though we see things going on around us, we know that Yahushua is coming back. And that should give us the expectation and this this kind of joy in the midst of the storm, and that these things needs to happen before the righteousness is fully on the earth. And as we were reading in the previous portions, that the glory and the kavod of YaHuWaH will fill the earth. That's the expectation that he is coming back soon. I think all of us were suffering somehow in different aspects, and most probably, as I felt in my heart many years ago, we need to go through that process sometimes, because it's a way that we are going to be sensitive enough in order to remember that our lives is not in our hands. Our lives are in the hands of YaHuWaH about. And everything we need, everything we want, we need to go to him because he is the one sustaining our lives. So actually the disciples were writing about this a lot, I would say, right?
About having the troubles and the good times. Yeah. And also I think that maybe it's so important that you can taste the salt or the sour, so you can understand what is sweet. So if you don't have that experience, you're not going to be looking to the other side, and you're not going to appreciate it. You need the opposition somehow, and it's when you are growing the most.
We need to experience night in order to appreciate day. Yeah,
the fruits are just coming on the real world after a very hard winter. So that's how the nature and how this world is working.
The beauty of this is that everything, the source of all of this is YaHuWaH Elohim.
Yeah.
So everything is containing him, day and night, winter and summer. There's multiple passages in the scripture that is describing all of this.
Yeah.
So he's allowing us to go through different type of experiences time to time. And I fully agree with you, is in order to appreciate the blessings he's given us. And beyond this part of appreciate what he's doing for us is to remember that everything comes from him. So that's why we need to have a heart full of gratitude, though sometimes it's not easy. We need to have our hearts full of gratitude for everything he's doing for us. Even those challenges we have to experience, because sometimes, most of the time, is through those challenges is when we learn the most. The point is that we need to learn how to go through those challenges. What's the proper attitude? If we put our ego, ourselves, we are going to, maybe we're not gonna learn the lesson. We're not gonna maximize the experience that YaHuWaH is giving us. If we deny ourselves and we let Him to live through us, is when we are going to take advantage of all the experiences, even though we feel them so challenging. Is when we are going to learn how to rely only in YaHuWaH. So keep in mind, even though that we are going maybe through some difficulties, let's give thanks to YaHuWaH because of the experience. Because there's something that we are going to be able to learn. There's something that we are, through those experiences is when we are able to put in practice Torah. Through those experiences is where we are able to learn the righteousness of the kingdom of YaHuWaH. So that's why we need to be observing all the time what is our attitude in any experience that we are able to have in a daily basis. If we are having the attitude of Mashiach, we are having our own attitude. And that's the part and the moment when we need to make the decision. Are we going to live by our own decisions and will and desires, or we are going to let Him to live through us, so we are going to be in harmony with His rhythm, with His love, with His compassion, with His thoughts. And in those moments when we learn.
Yeah. True.
So, anything else before we begin?
I don't know if it's going to happen or it's happening. Well, I can see right now, maybe we can use the example that, well, Camila is not with us today because she expressed in the chat that she was going to attend to some funeral service or has some visitors for that. And those are so difficult moments that we have to experience. And maybe this time we are going to have them more close to our inner circle, because we know what is happening in the world, because also we know that this life is something temporary. And though it's a very difficult time, because I think that is one of the most critical moments in our lives, more stressful. Even though when we have our heart maybe like so broken, is in those moments when nobody else can understand the pain that we are suffering, that YaHuWaH is just next with us. He is there providing and giving the comfort that we need. And we as His children, we need to know about that. And we need to try to be strong, and not only for us, and because He is with us, also for the people who doesn't have the same relationship with YaHuWaH, so they can see that we have that trust in Him, that is going to be that day that He is going to take us from the dust, from the sleep that we are maybe, that He is going to bring us back, and that our hope is in that moment, because we know that He is going to raise all His children again, and He's going to gather all the fruits that He has put in this earth. So through that shalom, through that conviction, we can help maybe some other people, so they can have that assurance, and they can understand that we have one Elohim that is so powerful, that this is only a temporary phase, that this is only a time for learning, that this is only a time so we can know and we can understand what is real life. And in this place, we are just having like a 10% of that 100% that He's offering us for us. So maybe a lot of us, we are going to be struggling with that kind of situation. So if we are not doing it right now, we have to be preparing to know that prayer and having our faith in Him is the only way that we can go through that moments of desolation, of pain that we could feel. So it's we have to trust in Him.
Absolutely. So let's move on. I will share that song with you, and as we always do, we will initiate the study after this. So here we go.
כולי משתחווה לפניך, אלוהי צבאות, אל גיבור, אל שדי, לכבוד שמך. הכל נברא בידיך, ואתה כן אתה, גם הסכנת כל דרכי. אתה קדוש, נישא מעל השמיים. אתה קרוב, שוכן בתוך ליבי. אתה קדוש, אין כמוך בשמיים. אתה קרוב, תמיד אתה עימי. לפני היווסד תבל אתה היית יודע הכל, יודע גם את שמי. אבוא לפני כסך, בזכות דבר של ישוע מושיע.
Let's pray. YaHuWaH, Elohim Sabaoth, we want to give thanks to you in this moment, in this new Shabbat. Thank you for your Ruach, Abba, for your presence. Because in the midst of difficulties, in the midst of challenges, we can say with full certainty that you are with us, that our hearts is for you, so you can dwell within it. Thank you, Abba, because you are the one making us to remember that it's only in you where we find life. Thank you, YaHuWaH, because even when we forget, even when we fail, you are just there with your Ruach, knocking the door of our hearts, calling us so we can open the door and you can get in. Thank you, YaHuWaH, because you're always there for us, just waiting for us to come back to you with an open heart, with a willing heart to serve you, to love you, to seek your face. And we want to remember every moment of our lives that you are the source of everything. That it's only in you, YaHuWaH, where we find life. That it's only in you, YaHuWaH Sabaoth, when we find the expectation of life. That it's only in you, YaHuWaH, is where we find salvation, and when we find hope, compassion, and love, and righteousness, and truth. Guide us, YaHuWaH, so we are always with the attitude to serve you, to embrace any experience you are bringing to our lives, knowing that you're always looking the best for us, that you're always guiding our steps. And if we fail, it's because sometimes we want to do our will and not to let your will be done. Teach us, so we can be like you are. And you have set the perfect example for us. And that perfect example is your son, Yahushua. Because he is like you are. And we want to be like he is. We want to thank you, Abba, in this moment, because we know that your presence is among us. And in this time when we set this time apart in order to study your word, in your set apart day, in your Shabbat, we want to ask you, Abba, that you can guide us in everything we are going to do, that you can speak through us, you can give us of your wisdom, you can teach us your words and your ways, that you can strengthen our hearts so we can serve you with all the energy and all the strength of ourselves, knowing that you are the source, knowing that you are the only one who deserves to be praised. YaHuWaH, in these last days is when we need you the most. It's when we need to remember at every moment of our lives that it is only in you where we find fullness of life. And that's why, YaHuWaH, is why we ask you for strength and emunah and faith, so we can endure until the end. Guide each one of us to go through the storm, knowing that if we hold fast to your hands, we have nothing to fear, because you are the one taking care of us. Guide us, YaHuWaH, giving us health so to endure everything that the system of the beast is doing in these times, knowing that it's only in you, YaHuWaH Sebaot. It's when we find fullness of life for our bodies, for our hearts, for our emotions. We need that hedge of protection, O YaHuWaH, each one of your children in these times. And we know that we are going to get it as soon as we are getting closer to you, because you are the one protecting your people every time that we are under the shadow of your wings. Thank you, Allah, because you are a lovely Father, waiting for your children to go to you, to be under your protection, to be under your guidance. And we want to be that type of children. Children who acknowledge that it's only in you where we find the truth. And that's the type of heart we want to have, Allah. And that's why in this moment, we surrender our lives to you. And we give our lives to you as an ascending offering, asking, O YaHuWaH, that you can take it as a sweet smelling offering, and you can use us as your vessels, as your witnesses in these days. We want to be those witnesses you have seen in each one of us. And we want to serve you in the way you have purpose in your heart that we can serve you in these days. Thank you, Allah, for this time, for this gathering, for our brothers and sisters here with us, as well as for those that are not here at this time, but are all also able to see this study later on. I ask you, Allah, that you can touch their hearts too, so we can be ahad in you, that we can feel you within us in this, your temple. Thank you, Allah, for this time, for your presence, for your Ruach, and for the salvation you give us through your Son, YaHuWaH HaMashiach. We pray in His name, in His mighty name. Amen.
Amen.
That's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm.
Actually, the music and also the lyrics are something so important that is being shared.
And
And
He's always with us.
it's in our hearts, it's always with us, that He is set apart. It's something that we should remember all the time. Okay, so let's move on to the chapter 17 of the book of Isaiah, YaHuWaH. It's a 4 chapter, or short chapters. So let me begin with the chapter 17. Okay. So it says the following: the message concerning Damascus. See, Damascus ceases to be a city and shall become a heap of ruins. The cities of Aroer are forsaken. They are for flocks which shall lie down, with no one to frighten. And the stronghold shall cease from Ephraim, and the rain from Damascus, and the remnant of Aram be as the steam of the sons of Israel, declares YaHuWaH Sebaot. So maybe we should stop and make some comments and then we continue. So anything you want to share here?
about the meaning of the names.
Go ahead.
Well, Damasek means the silent is the sackcloth weaver. So something that is kind of important, like silent. And Aroer means ruins. So
Okay.
it already means ruins. And well, Ephraim, we know that it means fruitful. And that's it. And Aram.
You don't have it?
No.
Okay, you can look for it.
Because I have a wrong definition. Give me a second. Okay, it's highland or elevated.
Elevated.
Yeah, I'm going to correct.
And actually, this is interesting because when we see the geography of the place, is Aram is on looking at it from the land of Israel. Is what is called now I forgot the name.
Golan? No?
Yes,
The
the
Golan
Golan
Heights.
Heights. So
It's high.
it's
high.
there are big mountains, but the land of the land of Syria nowadays Syria of Aram on those times, it's at the top of the mountain. That's the level. So the land of Israel is
another.
400 or 300
Lower.
meters lower than that place. So it's interesting that that's the meaning of the name.
So we have a coming destruction somehow. That
Every-
is going to be left at ruins.
And this is it's a kind of difficult to understand in terms of the timing because we know that something like this happened in the past, and Assyria or Ashur was conquering all those places. When Assyria conquered the land, the house of Israel, the 10 tribes, also was conquering those places of Aram or Damasek. But in prophecy, everybody is expecting that this prophecy is going to be fulfilled on the end times. That something is going to happen in the city of Damascus nowadays, and that's why it's interesting when we see what begins to happen on Syria, on the country Syria, a few years ago,
Yeah.
2015,
They have a lot of
17.
destruction there.
There's a lot of destruction with all this terrorist group, Daesh, ISIS, was working on exactly on those places, and there was big fights that caused the immigration, this massive migration
Yeah, I
of people
remember.
that came from Syria to Europe and to different places of the world. Actually, I think even in our countries that
Yeah.
we are far away.
We
from that place,
received some people.
we
from
received
there.
some people from there. So and I remember when I was doing the last days series, I was including some pictures, some videos of what happened to the city of Damascus, though it wasn't destroyed as it is being
Describe here.
described here. There was a lot of destruction on the city and Syria. And one of the things I was telling you earlier is that the Damasek or Damascus is the capital of Aram. And actually, I think we were reading about it in some of the previous portion in this book of Isaiah, when it was saying the head of Aram is Damasek, and the head of Damasek is Retzin. So what's the point that I want to make? It could be that maybe the reference of Damasek is not only that what's going to happen to the city, is a representation of what was going to happen or what's going to happen to the place, to the land that that city, that capital city is representing. Basically, what was going to happen to Syria. Okay, so if this is a reference of the past, it is a reference of the future. It's something that we will have to see. There is no doubt that Syria and Damasek is in the Middle East, and is exactly where everything is being heating up, and most probably something we will see in the coming days. Okay,
Yeah.
and And why this somehow is connected to the end times is because of everything that is being described later on in the verses that we're going to read. Anything you want to say?
When I was still thinking about the meaning of the name, when it says that silent is the sackcloth, is the sackcloth weaver. So I was thinking about that kind of clothes. The sackcloth is usually being used when you are sad, when you are having a lot of pain. And the silent usually is also related to the situation. When you are having some difficult time, you are like, I don't know, within yourself. You are not as, how can I say, retraído. You are like distant from the rest of the people. So you are living in a different phase, maybe. So I was thinking about maybe there is going to be also a moment that when we feel that we are not in connection with the rest of the people, at one point it's going to be this, is not going to be that situation anymore. It's not going to be needed that in the future, because YaHuWaH is going to change our sorrows somehow. So I was thinking maybe more in our spiritual realm. So,
yeah, that's good. And one thing before I forget, also I wanted to add is that we always need to keep in mind the importance of Damascus, the importance of Aram, in connection with Israel. And there are the multiple things that we have to remember. First thing is that during the time of the kings that we were studying about it, there was a close relationship between the house of Israel and Damascus, and the king of Aram. Actually, both of them were fighting against the house of Yehuda in some moments. Also, in other moments, the house of Yehuda were having close ties with the Aram. And somehow I was remembering this king of Yehuda
was
copying the slaughter place from Damascus and instructing the Kohanim in Jerusalem to build a similar one. So that's one aspect that we need to remember, is the close tie between the house of Israel and the house of Yehuda with Damascus and so on. There is a second aspect that is and that this is the beginning of all, is that when Abraham with his family came out from Ur of Kasdim, they went to Aram and they established themselves in that place. It was from Aram when YaHuWaH was calling Abraham out to leave his relatives and go to the promised land. But his family remained in Aram. Actually, Laban was the Aramean. And Jacob was living 20 years or 20-something years in that place. And actually, if we remember, Abraham sent his servant to his relatives, to that place, to take Rivka, to take a wife for his son. So they were the relatives. So that's why the importance of Aram and Damascus in somehow the connection of Israel from a bloodline point of view. And the third aspect that we need to remember is that when we take a look in the Brit Hadashah, and somehow this is being reinforced in the Dead Sea Scrolls, is that Damascus was having a very important place on the first believers. If you remember, Shaul, before his conversion, he was asking permissions and authority through the letters of the Sanhedrin and the priests to go against the followers of the way in Damascus. And it was when he was going to Damascus on the way when he has the encounter with Mashiach, and his life completely changed. And actually, the first time, and all of this is written, if you remember, in the book of Acts, the first place when he was preaching the good news was in Damascus. the Dead Sea Scrolls, actually there is a specific scroll that it was called the Damascus Scrolls, that is somehow connecting the people of the believers, the follower of the ways, and actually is talking about the new covenants of those of Damascus, with a group of people that were having a different set of beliefs, and actually more than different sets of beliefs, that they were believing exactly as it is written, not with the traditions and so on. So Damascus has been always an important place when we take a look from the different angles I have shared, and that's why I do believe that everything that is being written in this chapter 17 is so important, because the connection from the spiritual point of view and from the bloodline point of view is so super important when we think about the prophecies. Okay, so let's continue from verse 4. It says, "And in that day it shall be that the esteem of Yaakov wanes, and the fatness of his flesh grows lean. And it shall be as when the harvester gathers the grain, and reaps the heads with his arm. And it shall be as he who gathers heads of grain in the valley of Rephaim. And gleaning grapes shall be left in it, like the shaking of an olive tree. 2 or 3 olives at the top of the uppermost branch, 4 or 5 in its most fruit-bearing branches, declares YaHuWaH Elohim of Israel. In that day man shall look to his Maker, and his eyes turn to the set-apart one of Israel." So I'm going to stop here for a moment, because I think this is one thing that it pushes to understand that this passage is referring to the end times, because the verse 7 has not yet happened, though it happened on the first coming.
Yeah, because a lot of people realize and believe in Yahushua as the Mashiach.
Absolutely.
So they were put in his eyes,
And they were able to see and look to his Maker.
It was the beginning of this phase.
Now, in connecting this passage 7 with the previous one is when we could understand that this is in reference to the end times. Why? Because everything that is being described in verse 5 and 6 has a connection with harvest. And we know that the harvest began on the first coming, but this is still ongoing process. And we know that the final harvest is coming at the second coming of Yahushua HaMashiach. If we connect with everything that is being described in the book of Revelation and many other places, but specifically in the book of Revelation, it shows how the one coming on the cloud, that is also a reference here in this portion, is sending the sickle in order to begin the harvest of the earth. This is in the chapter 14, if I remember well, on the book of Revelation. So the reference of the harvest here with the Maker and the set apart one of Israel could be a perfect reference of what's going to happen at the end times. That's why most of the people are expecting and believing that the destruction of Damascus is something that is coming.
Like the kickoff, and then we have this.
And actually, when we go in a kind of a chronological order in the book of Jeremiah, because Jeremiah is also speaking about the destruction of Damascus. This is something I saw many years ago. It seems like he's describing a chronological order of destructions of some cities. And the destruction of Damascus is coming before the destruction of Babel, which I believe is the daughter of Babel, being described over there. So it's like Damascus coming first, the daughter of Babel is coming next, and then it's coming the rest, or the establishment of the system of the beast in fullness. Okay, so let's continue. It says, and in verse 8, "And he shall not look to the slaughter places, the work of his hands, and he shall not see that which his own fingers made, nor the asherim, nor the sun pillars. In that day his strong cities become like a forsaken forest, and an uppermost branch, which they left because of the children of Israel. And it shall become a ruin, because you have forgotten the Elohim of your deliverance, and have not remembered the rock of your stronghold. Therefore you shall plant pleasant plants, and set out foreign seedlings. By day make your plant grow, and in the morning make your seed to flourish. But the harvest is a heap in the day of grief and incurable pain. Woe to the uproar of many people, who make a noise like the roar of the seas, and to the rushing of nations that make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. Nations rushing like the rushing of many waters. But he shall rebuke them, and they shall flee far away, and be chased like the chaff of the mountains before the wind, like whirling dust before the whirlwind. At eventide, look, alarm, before morning, it is no more. This is the portion of those who plunder us, and the lot of those who rob us. So, this part, there is no doubt that it's talking about the end times. When we talk about woe to the uproar of many people who make a noise like the roar of the seas, for me it's a perfect description when we're talking about the war of Har Megiddo, when all the nations are going to be joining and gathering together in the place of Megiddo in order to fight against the one that is coming on the cloud.
And no, not also that. Also nowadays, when we can be witness about all this kind of protests, because different rights and thoughts, or I don't know, ideas that they have, and usually they're against the desire of YaHuWaH.
Yes.
But they are protesting, and it's not the way that YaHuWaH decided that we should conduct ourselves.
And actually the timing is really interesting in the verse 14, because it's talking about eventide. The alarm before morning. I remember a few passages when it's talking about this, at noon is going to be dark.
Yeah.
So noon, from noon onward, basically. And wow, this is interesting, because somehow is the similar timing that happened in the crucifixion. And actually the day become darkened, and it was during the afternoon.
And if you go back, you can see also Yaakov when he was struggling with the messenger. It was during the night, and in the morning it was delivered.
Exactly.
So it's always like that. And also the relation about the bringing these foreign seedlings.
Yes. In the verse 11.
It's very interesting, because it says, by day make your plant to grow, and in the morning make your seed to flourish. So it's something that is very quick compared to the natural rhythm that YaHuWaH has intended. And maybe we can see that with the current kind of agro system that is in the world today. They are having a lot of things to eat in a kind of so fast way that is not natural, because they are intervening
with GMOs.
And they are intervening everything.
Yes.
Intervening, I don't know how to say. But you were saying something also that it was interesting, that always the seed and the plants were compared to people. So it could also have some connection when people are believing, I received the word, I received the message, but it's not going to endure. So usually it's going to be just dying to the next day. It could be also that.
Yes. And it could be also physically, when we talk about migrations, what's happening is a mixing of seeds.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on in Europe. They're about this replacement theory, that the locals are being replaced by those that are coming from foreign countries.
Yeah, but here too, and everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. So basically, that could be also an interpretation of what's talking about. And for sure, the scriptures we need to take a look, depend on the context. And that has the different applications. It has a physical application, but also have an inner being application that we need to understand. What is important here is that even though the type of application we can use for the scripture, just to understand the real intention that YaHuWaH is trying to teach us here, is that in this case, what is triggering all of this is exactly what I'm highlighting now. It's basically forgetting the Elohim of your deliverance because of not remembering the rock of your stronghold. And this is something that is not happening outside. This is something that's happening inside, related to what we were discussing yesterday. Is within us, in our true being, not the physical one. And we know that we cannot separate both things, that He created us as one piece of things with different parts. But internally is when we decide. Internally is where we put the desire of our hearts. Internally is when we decide where we are going to put the focus, what are the decisions we are going to make. So when He says that because you have forgotten the Elohim of your deliverance, remembering or forgetting is something that is invisible, is intangible, is something that is happening within us. So we need to do the extra effort within ourselves in the decisions we are doing in a daily basis, is to not to forget, to the contrary, to remember. Every time that we are doing something is to remember. YaHuWaH is everywhere. YaHuWaH is the one allowing me to do this. YaHuWaH is the one giving me this experience because He wants to teach me something. He wants to make me grow. So that's the attitude and the mindset and the pattern of thoughts that we need to have. And we need to create a habit in order to remember. It's something that we need to do with discipline. Is YaHuWaH the one giving me this? Is YaHuWaH behind all of this? Is YaHuWaH the source of everything? And and it's interesting that He's putting the both things, the contrasts is forgetting and remember, using in the both ways. You have forgotten, you have not remembered. So we need to push ourselves to remember all the time. And it's through our thoughts and through our hearts is where how and when we are going to remember Him. So what else we have here? The attitude of the people. And it's talking about the end times. The strong cities become like a forsaken forest. It shall become a ruin. So, the expectation, I think the important thing here is that though this could have a literal fulfillment, the important message here is that judgment will come over some cities of the world. Judgment will come over His people. But there is an expectation is that we are going to be able to look to the eyes of the set apart one of Israel and to connect and understand that He is our Maker. Not to forget Elohim, to remember Him all the time. And the timing of everything that's going to happen. Okay? Anything else you want to add?
No, that at the end, how it's closing. Because it says, even at eventide look, alarm, before morning, it is no more. This is the portion of those who plunder us and the lot of those who robbed us. So at the end, all the plunderers, all the people who used to rob us in different ways, maybe not only monetary, not only with physical thing, but also robbing us with the time that maybe we need to dedicate our Creator. Because we are distracted with a lot of things, is going to be the end of those people, of those kind of systems. So it's going to be a moment that everything is going to be stopped.
So let's move on to chapter 18. Let me see something. Okay, this is a short one, so I'm gonna read it and you can read the last two. Okay?
Okay.
We're going, I'm just being fair with you.
Yeah, okay.
It's 14 plus
It's not going to be fair, but okay.
7 is 21.
Yeah.
It's not going to be fair.
No, but it's okay. Because maybe I'm
you're
going to have
right.
difficult
You're
readings and words, but
that's
okay.
not a problem. So it's even better because you're going to be able to practice your English more than me. So let's move on with the chapter 18. So it says, "Woe to the land shadowed with whirring wings, which is beyond the rivers of Cush, which sends envoys by sea, even in vessels of reed on the waters, saying, Go, swift messengers, to a nation tall and smooth-skinned, to a people dread from their beginning onward, a nation mighty and trampling, whose land the rivers divide. All the inhabitants of the world, and you that dwell on the earth, when a banner is lifted up on the mountains, look, and when a shofar is blown, hear. For thus YaHuWaH said to me, I am still, and I watch in my dwelling place like dazzling heat in sunshine, like a cloud of dew in the heat of the harvest. For before harvest, when the bud is perfect and the sour grape is ripening in the flower, then he shall cut off the twigs with pruning hooks, and shall cut down and take away the spreading branches. They are left together for the mountain birds of prey, and for the beasts of the earth. And the birds of prey shall summer on them, and all the beasts of the earth winter on them. In that time a present shall be brought to YaHuWaH Sebaot from a people tall and smooth-skinned, and from a people awesome from their beginning onward, a nation mighty and trampling, whose land the rivers have divided, to the place of the name of YaHuWaH Sebaot, to Mount Zion. And this is a huge mystery.
Yeah,
because
we
I don't
can-
know
Yeah, who is this people?
who is this people, who is talking about.
But they're going to bring a kind of at the end, they're going to have a present.
So it's interesting because it's talking first about the land, and when the scripture is talking about the land, it's talking about the people living in the land as well. That is a people and the land that is beyond the rivers of Cush, the one sending vessels and sending messengers to these mysterious people.
Yeah, and it
Tall
doesn't
and-
mention it doesn't mention to what direction beyond
No.
of the land of
It
Cush.
says the
So it
land
could
that
be-
is divided by rivers. It's not saying that it's to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west. It's talking about these mysterious people. So we have two people here. Is the ones that are beyond Cush, one, and two is this mysterious tall and smooth-skinned people that at the end, these mysterious people are going to be the one bringing presents to YaHuWaH. And what is interesting is that these tall and smooth-skinned people are going to bring the presents to Mount Zion. It means that that's going to happen at the end. When the kingdom is established, when Yahushua is on the throne here on earth, is when these tall and smooth-skinned people are going to bring the presents to YaHuWaH.
It could be like the last people that are going to see that YaHuWaH is the creator. Maybe the current one that are very far away from him. It could be. It's like you're asking them, go to them because they have this characteristic and everything, and that they, at the end, they're going to.
Could it be that maybe those are peoples that are beyond the ice walls?
I don't know. And it says
Who
about
knows?
the smooth skin, I don't know.
The smooth skin and tall people.
And tall, so definitely it's
No,
not,
we are not.
It's not, we are
Yes.
not included.
Yes, absolutely. So interesting. I don't know who is talking about, but for sure this is talking about the end times. Why? Because first in the verse 3 it's talking to all the inhabitants of the world.
Yeah.
Everyone that is dwelling on the earth. And what's the sign when all of this is going to happen is when a banner is lifted up on the mountains, when the shofar is blown.
Here.
It's talking about the end times,
or the
on the last trumpets. We were talking about the banner in the previous portion of this book, and we connected that this banner is talking about Yahushua. It's coming with the banner with the name of YaHuWaH. So when is going to happen this on the second coming? And that's why it's talking to all the dwellers of the earth, because everyone that is dwelling on the earth is going to be able to see and look the one coming on the clouds. So this is the timing. And YaHuWaH is still waiting for the right moment. And what's the right moment? And I think this is an important, how to say it?
Because it's going to be a pruning then. It says he's going to cut off the twigs with pruning hooks. So usually you make that when you want that part of the tree that is going to be, I don't know, expanding. So that's the purpose of pruning, and also to take out the things that are not not receiving the nutrients from the earth. So
I think it is an important passage that is giving us a clue of the timing of the second coming.
When you do the pruning, it's usually in winter.
Let's read it.
Okay.
For before harvest, it's talking about harvest. It's not talking about the pruning. It's when the harvest is when they're going to take the grain or the fruit. Okay, so that's the timing. When the bud is perfect and the sour grape is ripening in the flower. It's talking about fruits of the trees.
So it's past spring, something like that.
Don't think on seasons.
Okay.
Think on moediums.
Oh, okay.
When you are presenting the fruits of the trees, in which feast?
And in gathering.
In Sukkot.
Sukkot.
So all of this is being pointing that it's going to happen
In Sukkot.
before Sukkot
Before Sukkot.
or close to Sukkot. Because it's when the bud, the fruits are appearing, already there.
They're maturing.
Yes.
Getting mature.
So, and you are absolutely right. There is going to cut down some of the branches, and those branches are being left together for the birds. And the description of the verse 6 is exactly the same description or similar description that is being similar description to the word in Har Megido.
Yeah.
Calling the birds
And
to
the
enjoy the supper
Yeah.
of the flesh of kings and sovereigns and so on. So it basically is taking the fruit of the trees and it's cutting the branches of this big tree of the world, and those branches that are going to be left maybe with fruits
Yeah.
are for the birds. Okay, so the timing, at least, even that we don't understand and we don't know who is this mysterious people, at least is giving us the time frame on when all of this is going to happen, including the second coming, is close to Sukkot.
It could be the army of Yahushua.
I was thinking on that. When we were reading last week or the previous one, that is coming with the weapon of destructions, with people, with 10,000s and thousands of people, it could be that. The point is that, at least in the way that it's being described here, is talking about people in the land, on the earth. Those ones that are coming with Yahushua are coming from heaven.
But maybe they are already here with Mashiach, because it's also after the banner is being shown. So it could be.
Could be.
And they are going to have a smooth skin.
Yes. So anything else to add here? No? Okay. So let's move on to your two chapters.
Okay. The message concerning Mizraim. See, YaHuWaH is riding on a swift cloud, and he shall come into Mizraim, and the idols of Mizraim shall tremble at his presence, and the heart of Mizraim melt in its meat. And I shall stir up Mithrites against Mithrites, and they shall fight, each one against his brother, and each one against his neighbor, city against city, reign against reign, and the spirit of Mizraim shall vanish within them, and I destroy their counsel. and they shall seek the idols and the murderers, the mediums and the sorcerers. And I shall deliver the mysteries into the hand of a cruel master, and a fierce sovereign to rule over them, declares the Master YaHuWaH Sebaot, or YaHuWaH Host. So, well, here is talking about what is going to happen with Misraim. It's going to be a total chaos, inner chaos. People are going to be fighting against them, and they're going to look for, I don't know, maybe answer. They're going to seek, it says, they're going to seek the idols and the murderers and the medium and the sorcerers. They're going to try to have answers from different places, but not from YaHuWaH. So, and it says that they're going to be delivered to a hand of something that is a cruel master. So,
yeah, for me, there are two things that is interesting from my point of view. First, in the verse 1, it's saying YaHuWaH is riding on a swift cloud, and he shall come into Misraim. Let me show you something. When Yahushua was being judged by the Sanhedrin, it says the following: but Yahushua remained silent, so the high priest said to him, I put you to oath by the living Elohim that you say to us, if you are the Messiah, the Son of Elohim. Yahushua said to him, you have said it. Besides, I say to you, from now on you shall see the Son of Adam sitting at the right hand of the power and coming on the clouds of the heaven. Then the high priest tore his garment, saying, he has blasphemed. Why do we need any more witnesses? See, now you have heard his blasphemy. So once I heard, and I think it has a strong foundation in the word, is that why the high priest reacted in this way, considering this a blasphemy, is because Yahushua said that he is coming on the clouds on the heaven.
So he knew about the other prophecy.
Exactly, that the only one that is riding on the clouds is YaHuWaH. And it's exactly what we see here happening in this chapter. YaHuWaH is the one riding on the swift cloud. So it's like Yahushua
stating that he is YaHuWaH.
He is YaHuWaH. He is Elohim. Not directly, but somehow pointing this out on the prophecies. So beside that is again the timing. YaHuWaH is riding on a swift cloud. We know that during the first Exodus, YaHuWaH was coming with the column of fire and the column of cloud. So it could be a reference to that. But we know that YaHuWaH, Isaiah, was speaking about the future, not about the past. So the only additional timing when YaHuWaH is riding on a swift cloud is going to be during the second coming of Yahushua. That's the promise. Okay? And the second is this reference of the verse 2. And I shall stir up Misrites against Misrites, and they shall fight, each one against his brother, and each one against his neighbor, city against city, reign against reign. When we read that, it's impossible not to remember what is written here by Yahushua in the verse 6 of 24 of Matthew, and you shall begin to hear of fightings and reports of fighting. See that you are not troubled, for these have to take place, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, reign against reign, and there shall be scarcity of food, and deadly diseases and an earthquake. And we know that in other places he's saying about brother will be against brother,
and the father and the mother, and
against
everybody's fighting inside of a
son
family.
and daughter and so on. So what's the point I want to make? For me, it looks like that those are cross-reference, speaking about the same thing. So if that's true, could it be that Misraim in this case is more than the place of Misraim that we know? It's not the land, it's talking about
Our
the
condition.
spirit of Misraim and the condition in a bigger scale in the world.
I'm always thinking about Misraim like a bondage place. So it's like, and we are living in this bondage state when we are here in this physical body. And when we are attached to the death, when we are attached to the diseases, to the evil, so we are in bondage right now. So I think that it's talking about the moments that we are living right now, and we are seeing that there is a lot of discussion, a lot of fighting, and even without any kind of cause, it's just happening in different places. So I think this is the time that we are living right now.
Exactly. And in the verse 3 somehow is reinforcing what we're speaking, because it says, and the spirit of Misraim. It's not talking about the physical land of Misraim. It's the spirit of Misraim shall vanish within them. Within who? The heart of Misraim melt in its midst. About the people, the Misrites, shall vanish within them and destroy their counsel. And they shall seek the idols and the murderers and the mediums and the sorcerers. And this is exactly what we see, people looking all over the places in different things. And I shall deliver the Misrites into the hand of a cruel master. Could be that this cruel master is referring to the anti-Mashiach.
I'm thinking about the system, maybe, and also what is going to happen next, because we know that there is a kind of system that is going to be in place in some years, and it's already been a lot of work related to that, and maybe it's what that kind of people, how they're going to be delivered to depend on that system.
Because it says, I'm first sovereign to rule over them, declares the Master YaHuWaH Sabaoth. So I think again, it's our thoughts. It's something we need to allow YaHuWaH to enlighten our minds and the proper understanding. But it looks like everything is pointing out to not to Misraim as the land. It's talking about the spirit of Misraim in the world, and it's pointing again to the second coming with the reference of the YaHuWaH riding the clouds, and the reference of Yahushua in his prophecy on the Mount of Olives.
I'm going to continue.
Yeah, sure.
And water shall fail from the sea, and the river wasted and dried up, and the rivers shall sting, and the streams shall be weak and dried up. Reeds and rushes shall wither. And we can see that with the contamination that we have in the rivers, in the sea, everything is sting, animals are dying, so it's what we are having. Bare places by the river, by the mouth of the river, and every sound field by the river shall wither, and it shall be driven away and be no more. And the fishermen shall lament, and all those who cast hooks into the river shall mourn, and they who spread nets on the water shall pine away, and those who work in fine flax, and those who weave fine fabrics shall become ashamed. And its foundation shall be crushed, and the wedge worker grieved in being. The princes of Soan are only fools, the counsel of Pharaoh, wise ones, has become senseless. How do you say to Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of ancient sovereign? Where are they? Where are you, wise men? Let them show you, and let them know that YaHuWaH of hosts has counseled against Misraim.
So, it's so important what it's saying here, and its foundation shall be crushed. When we look at what's going on today in today's world, and most probably this is happening in your countries too, there's a huge discussion about the institutions. How the institutions are being destroyed. We were taking a look on what's going on with all this discussion about Donald Trump in the States and the
trial?
The judicial system, and how it's so important for the American people about the judicial and to trust in the judicial system. Actually, it's all over the place, but specifically in the States, how the judicial system is a foundation institution.
And now they are being how do you
destroyed,
say?
crushed.
and they are doing things that they cannot do. So
And the same here in our country, we see in Europe, in different other places, like the whole discussions about the institutions on governments and the social institutions are the foundations of society. So those foundations are being crushed. That's part of what is being described. So most probably it could be that this is a reference of what we are seeing happening today. And the next one is about pride. It's about being wise in our own understandings. It's looking for people with wisdom, but instead of looking in YaHuWaH, who is the owner of wisdom. So the princes of Zoan are only fools. Could it be that this is exactly what we see in the current rulers? Without wisdom, without having understanding, the counsel of Pharaoh's wise one has become senseless. And is exactly what we see happening today in today's world. How do you say to Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of an ancient sovereign? Where are they? Where are your wise men? Let them show you and let them know that what YaHuWaH Sebaot has counsel against Mizraim. So it's not true wisdom.
It's not
In the
true
bottom line.
wisdom. And Zoan means place of departure. So that is good.
Yeah, I just saw in the comment here from Wendy, the educational bill and the educational system.
Yeah.
It's another foundation
That was
institution
completely destroyed. Yeah. The princes of Zoan have become fools. The princes of Noph are deceived. They, the cornerstone of her tribe, have led Mizraim away.
Astray.
Astray. YaHuWaH has mixed a perverse spirit in her midst, and they have led Mizraim astray in all her work, as a drunkard astray in his vomit. And there is no work for Mizraim by either hair or tail, palm branch or bulrush. In that day Mizraim shall become like women, and tremble and fear because of the waving of the hands of YaHuWaH of hosts, which he waves over it. And the land of Yehuda shall be a fear to Mizraim. Everyone who mention it fears for himself, because of the counsel of YaHuWaH of hosts, which he has counsel against it. In that day 5 cities in the land of Mizraim shall speak the language of Canaan, and swear by YaHuWaH of hosts. One is called the city of destruction. In that day a slaughter place to YaHuWaH shall be in the midst of the land of Mizraim, and a standing column to YaHuWaH's its border. And it shall be for a sign and for a witness to YaHuWaH of hosts in the land of Mizraim. Where I'm here? Because you move it.
Sorry. Let me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mizraim.
I shall be here.
Yeah. When they cried to YaHuWaH because of the oppressors, he sent them a savior and an Elohim, and shall deliver them. And YaHuWaH shall be known to Mizraim. And the Mizraim shall know YaHuWaH in that day, and make a slaughtering and meal offering, and shall make vow to YaHuWaH and pay it. And YaHuWaH shall smite Mizraim, smite it and heal it, and they shall turn to YaHuWaH, and he shall hear them and heal them. In that day there shall be a highway from Mizraim to Ashur, and Ashur shall come into Mizraim, and Mizraim into Ashur, and Mizraim shall serve with Ashur. In that day Israel shall be one of 3 with Mizraim and Ashur, even a blessing in the midst of the earth, whom YaHuWaH of hosts shall bless, saying, Blessed is Mizraim my people, and Ashur the work of my hand, and Israel my inheritance.
Good. So what else we can point it out here? So first is something we need to acknowledge, even though sometimes we are not able to understand it properly, or maybe we don't want to understand, is that everything comes from YaHuWaH. In this case, in the verse 14 it says, YaHuWaH has mixed a perverse spirit in her midst. And we have seen similar situations when we're reading about studying the book of Kings, when YaHuWaH is allowing a spirit of deception to go through the mouth of the wrong prophets in order to to know the heart of the king of Israel, YaHuWaH. Okay,
With Pharaoh also.
with Pharaoh as
When
well.
he threatened his
He allowed Satan
To-
to put a trial on Job.
Yeah.
Job.
Yeah.
So it's YaHuWaH is in control of everything, and in this case, he's allowing a perverse spirit to be mixed
Yeah.
in the midst of Mizraim. And it's so interesting when we see, and we have been talking about this in the past, when we see what's going on in the world today, we can perceive that is something on the air, is something spiritual going on that is driving people crazy and driving people in some wrong direction. And the point is that the people who are not awake, are not strong enough, and doesn't know Elohim, are being driven
Yeah.
so easily.
It's like they were delivered to those kind of a spirit.
Yeah.
And if they were delivered by YaHuWaH, then I think that's why maybe Yahushua was always asking us not to judge the situations, because we don't have the proper judgment, because we don't know if that situation has another hidden purpose that maybe we cannot see. So we have to pray for those, because at that moment they're kind of an instrument, maybe a wrong instrument, but they're in that situation and we don't know why. Maybe we can just pray, and until that person can realize, and that person with his own eyes can see the Creator and ask him help. Because that is the issue. We cannot change the reality of what is happening there, because it's YaHuWaH who is going to work in every individual person.
Absolutely.
So
Now, when he's saying that YaHuWaH has mixed a perverse spirit in her midst, the word mixed, let me see, just to confirm something. Mingle, masach, to mix, especially wine. Oh, interesting. So YaHuWaH has mixed. Why is interesting? Because when in Revelation, when it's talking about the mystery Babylon, that is people are being drunk
by
with the
her-
wine
Yeah.
that is on the cup. So, but what's the point? When we talk about mixed, is that you are mixing two different things. So a perverse spirit is mixed with something else. So could it be, and this is just a theory, could it be, is that it's a mixture of, or it's a blending of true with deception? And then just came to mind, some videos I saw people preaching to Christians, preaching to in this Pride Month and Pride parades, and people shouting. You remember this video? Shouting, "No, this is not written in the Bible. This is not the description of love." And it's like people believe, but believe in their own way,
Yeah.
and people reject what is written. That's one thing. We have all these mysterious schools in other places that they believe it very similar, but they don't acknowledge YaHuWaH. And then you can add more things. So it's like a mixture between half true, half deception.
Like the serpent, what the serpent did with
Absolutely.
with Hawa,
Yep.
because the serpent was mixing some true with some lies. So
And actually, the description of what he's saying later on is really interesting. They have led Mizraim astray. So those are being drinking this mixed beverage are the one leading astray Mizraim, as a drunkard strays in his vomit. So I think the description is quite clear in the way that is being written. But this part of the mix for me is interesting. What else? Now, when I read these additional verses here, it looks like it's talking about the
yes.
physical place.
And I think that is going to happen in the future. It's not well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because
Yes.
it is something that is not. And for me, well, you said that it was for like something for physical because it's talking about cities and things like that. And I also can see that it's not only that, that it's maybe a kind of people from that place, that it's going to be a change. It's going to be a swift, complete. Because it says that they're going to,
YaHuWaH will send fear
yeah,
on the people.
yeah,
You remember what happened with the first and second generation? YaHuWaH was saying, I will send the fear of you on the hearts of the people when he was talking about the 7 nations that we're going to conquer. So people were having fear in their hearts, fear of Israel. So he's exactly the same what he's going to do.
and I don't know if I'm crazy or not, but I was thinking when I was reading the verse 17, it says, and the land of Yehuda shall be feared to Mizraim. Everyone who mentioned it fears for himself because of the counsel of YaHuWaH, which he has counseled against it.
And we know what the land of Yehuda is.
Yeah.
It's the piece of land that is what is called Israel now.
Yeah.
Part of it.
Yeah, but now they're having this kind of a connection with the situation that they're living right now. I know that Israel people put some security in the border with Mizraim. So I was thinking about maybe we're approaching to that moment
Could be.
with this. And it says, in that day, 5 cities in the land of Mizraim shall speak the language of Canaan and swear by YaHuWaH. So I was thinking that maybe that kind of having some people in the border, maybe they're going to start listening. Maybe they're going to start seeing something. Maybe they're going to start open something. And we are going to see maybe a kind of a transformation. And then it's going to be maybe language, maybe it's going to be some words, maybe it's going to be, because it says in that day, slaughter place to YaHuWaH shall be in the midst of the land of Mizraim. So it's going to mean even that they're going to believe that they want to build a slaughter place. So it's usually, this is when you really believe and you want to do the things in the way that YaHuWaH is asking.
Now, in the same way that I put some key points about Damascus and Aram, we also need to remember about the key things about Mizraim. Mizraim was the place where the Joseph became almost a king.
Yeah.
Mizraim was the place where the YaHuWaH provided salvation to Yaakov and his family because of the scarcity of food through what he did with Joseph. Mizraim was the place that we were living for 400 years, or for all this time, because there is a huge debate about what was the real time that they were living over there. Mizraim was the place that he put a figure of the Savior, the Mashiach, Moshe. And it's interesting that the Mizraim was the place that the Yahushua was sent.
Yeah, when his life was in danger.
Exactly.
When he was a baby.
And it's different prophecies saying that I'm going to call my son from Mizraim. And that's a reference for Israel as a people, but also a reference of Mashiach.
So at one moment they are having this kind of, even though they are bondage, from one hand, they could be also a place of protection.
Yes.
So it's interesting.
So there's something about Mizraim that maybe is a secret for us now, but there is a connection with Israel, and the way that he's saying and putting this on this chapter is even more mysterious to me. And because he said he sends them a savior and an Elohim and shall deliver them. Mizraim.
It's like what happened with Israel.
Yes, exactly. And YaHuWaH shall be known to Mizraim. And the Mizraelis shall know YaHuWaH in the day, and they already knew YaHuWaH. That's why a group of Egyptians decided to leave Mizraim and join Israel.
And you know what is interesting? Well, if we talk about culture and things with the register that we have in history, even the Mesrit they have before this was given as a command to Abraham. They have the circumcision. So I think, I don't know, this is my crazy head. I think that maybe time before they were having some structure and also having the commands and everything from YaHuWaH. But at one point they went astray. They decided to start believing in some kind of idols, and it has happened in a lot of cultures. And when they started to impose things that there are traditions and things like that, that at the end they are finishing doing things that are against the Creator. So I think that's why is how it's going to end this chapter. That he is going to recover even Mizraim.
Actually saying in the verse 22, YaHuWaH shall smite Mizraim, smite it and heal it. And you mentioned something before the broadcast that I think is absolutely true. It's exactly what he has been doing with Israel. Dispersing Israel because of their disobedience, but later on healing Israel. And it says, and they shall turn to YaHuWaH, and he shall hear them and heal them. It's exactly the same process that is being described for Israel throughout the scriptures. So when he's turning this to a physical locations, and it makes total sense, is on the last few verses. Because he's talking about a highway between Ashur, Mizraim, and Israel. And actually we know that the connection for these two geographical places is Israel, the land of Israel. And that's why in the middle. And that's why it has been so strategic place throughout centuries and throughout history. I mean the land of Israel, because it's connecting different continents. It's connecting the north with Africa. It's connecting the north with Asia. So in this case, it's basically saying that it's going to be a highway. It's going to be harmony.
Yeah, it's like the bridge.
It's going to be a bridge. Actually, there's a lot of theories that the current war is going on in that place because of commercial interest in order to put this corridor and this place as well. So basically, they are going to work in harmony. And for me, what is interesting, even beyond of what we have been discussing, is when we talk about genealogies, Mizraim is the descendant of Ham. Israel is the descendant of Shem. And Ashur. And this is interesting because when we take a look in the genealogies, Ashur is the descendant of Shem. Even though that the way that it's being translated, they put different letters, but the Hebrew is the same. Is the descendant of Shem, but a descendant of Cush, that is son of Ham, was the one establishing cities of Ashur, Nineveh, and so on, and that's Nimrod. Actually, let's take a look quickly. This is in the chapter 7, I think.
What could be?
9, 10 of the book of Genesis. Is here we have it. So, and it's not mentioning at all, in these three countries, the descendant of Japhet. And for me, this is also a mystery. Okay, so let me hear the sons of Ham, Cush, and Mizraim, and Put, and Canaan. And it says that they're going to talk about the language of Canaan. But the point is that Canaan decided to establish themselves in the land that didn't belong to them. It's the land that was the inheritance of Shem. Okay? And the sons of Cush, Seba, and Havilah, and Sabta, and Rama, and Sabtecha. And Cush brought forth Nimrod. Okay? He began to be a mighty one on the earth. And it says that the beginning of his reign of Nimrod was Babel, and Erech, and Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. From that land he went to Ashur, and built Nineveh, and Rehoboth, Ir, and Kelach, and Resem between Nineveh and Kelach, the great city. And then it says Mizraim brought forth Ludim, Canaan brought forth Sidon, and so on. And then it's talking about Shem, and also to Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth, the elder. The children were born. The son of Shem, Elam,
And Ashur.
and Ashur. So could it be that Nimrod took, again, in the same way that Canaan
And
took a
took
place
place.
that didn't belong to them? Nimrod, the son of Cush, the son of Ham, took places that didn't belong to him.
It could be.
Babel, Ashur, and so on.
And Aram.
And when we talk about the descendant of Shem, Shem was the chosen one.
Yeah.
Is the chosen seed.
Yeah. From there we have Abraham later.
Correct. So that maybe is the explanation about Ashur and Israel. But for me, it's interesting that Mizraim is in is part of the three places. And Mizraim is the descendant of Ham. The curse was over Canaan, not on Ham.
Not directly on Ham. Yeah.
Okay. And no, an additional mystery that we will need to ask for the wisdom. But anyway, let's go back to Isaiah.
Maybe it's a kind of restoration. YaHuWaH even tried to restore.
That's what I was thinking. It's restoring thing. It's going backward
Yeah.
to the point zero.
Yeah. Even though
Of
we have
full-
make a spoil about the things, he is restoring.
It's basically more than going backward. It's a circle.
Yeah.
It's going back to the original point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Restoring all things. Because at the end he's saying, in that day Israel shall be one of three with Mizraim and Ashur.
Yeah.
Even a blessing in the midst of the earth, and it's exactly
Yeah.
in the middle
Yeah.
for the entire world. Whom YaHuWaH Sebaot shall bless, saying, Blessed is Mizraim my people. So it's not more Israel my people, it's Mizraim my people. And Ashur the work of my hands, and Israel my inheritance. Is something precious, something that somebody else has
Given him.
to me, that should be considered a treasure possession.
Maybe because it was work during another time and he received it already, like, okay, in the best state. I don't know.
Could be. So the bottom line is that YaHuWaH has something on his heart, and it's something powerful. Everybody for the years already have been discussing about the issue and the problem in the Middle East that is impossible to be solved.
But he's going to
But
do it.
YaHuWaH has already a recipe here and saying, I'm going to fix it.
Yeah.
There's no more the Middle East issue. Israel is going to be a blessing in the midst of the world, and it's going to be a three-part blessing with three places that are going to be a highway. And we know a highway is also important, not from the commerce point of view, spiritually speaking.
It's going to happen like it was with Joseph. When the brothers, it was even Joseph who was telling him to the brothers, it's not because of what you did that, well, I suffer and everything, but YaHuWaH has a purpose behind.
Absolutely.
And at the end, you gave me a way, but it was a way that YaHuWaH chose. So at the end, I could be the salvation for the rest of the family. So it was like that. So I think that we are going just to know at the end of the time that when we are going to have those details that we don't have now, that we are going to see how is the blessing that YaHuWaH is going to pour over these places, over Mizraim, over Ashur, and over Israel, how they were in the middle. And he said, I'm going to bring salvation from Israel to the rest of the world. So
yeah. And just saw a comment from Keeps Digging 7 here. Ashur is spelled differently. Ashur and Ashur. That's true. In English it's different, but when you go to the Hebrew, it's exactly the same word. So that's why the connection we were making. So again, YaHuWaH is putting himself on top of everything, saying, I have the way to fix it, the issue in the Middle East, and this is the way that it's going to be solved.
So we have to trust.
Absolutely. So let's move on to the last one. It's chapter 20.
Oh, it's pretty sure.
Yeah.
Okay. In the year that Atam came to Ashdod, when Sargon, the sovereign of Ashur, sent him, and he fought against Ashdod and took it. At that same time, YaHuWaH spoke by means of Yeshayahu, son of Amoz, saying, Go and remove the sackcloth from your body, and take your sandals off your feet. And he did so, walking naked and barefoot. And YaHuWaH said, As my servant Yeshayahu has walked naked and barefoot 3 years for a sign, and a wonder against Mizraim and Cush, so does the sovereign of Ashur lead away the captives of Mizraim and the exiles of Cush, young and old, naked and barefoot, with their buttocks uncovered, the shame of Mizraim, and they shall be afraid and ashamed of Cush, their expectation, and of Mizraim, their boast. And the inhabitants of the coastland shall say in that day, See, such is our expectation, wherever we flee for help to be delivered from the sovereign of Ashur. And how do we escape?
That's interesting. That could be, and I don't know if this is referring to the end times. I tend to believe that this is referring to the what happened to Mizraim by the hands of Ashur, because that's already happened. You remember we put together a map of the kingdom of Assyria, and where we have a dark green and light green.
Yeah.
And they went up to Mizraim, down to Mizraim, because they were coming
the
from
only place that they couldn't have
is the
it was
house of
YaHuWaH.
YaHuWaH, and it's being very specifically Jerusalem.
Yeah.
But they conquered Mizraim.
Yeah.
And actually, it is written even in other the books of the prophets that the king of Babel, Nebuchadnezzar, also was fighting with the Mizraim. So could it be that all of this that is written in the verse 20 already happened?
It could be, but I think that it's hidden something that is going to
It's
happen.
always something hidden in the word, that there is a second or even third fulfillment.
I'm going to give you the meaning of some names. Tartan means general. Ashdod means powerful. Sargon, prince of the sun. Ashur, a step. Yeshayahu, we know that it means YaHuWaH has saved. Amoz, strong. And Mizraim, bondage. Cush, dark. And basically those are the words that are there. And if I just read everything together, it says general, powerful, prince of the sun, a step, powerful, Yah has saved, strong, bondage, dark. So it's like general, something that is going to be very important, that is powerful, is the prince of the sun. He's going to be a powerful step because YaHuWaH has saved from a strong bondage that is dark or darkness. So I found it very beautiful that he has always a way to deliver, to save us from that darkness, from the death.
Yeah, I think that's there's always some fun meaning on the names. Sometimes, as you discover, they're well connected to reinforce the message. You know, while you were sharing this, I was taking a look again on the passage, and the first in the verse 3 is interesting to see that he was walking in this way for 3 years.
Yeah, and I was asking you how he was completely naked, and maybe
There are
only
different understanding of this. That he was completely naked and he was half naked. We don't know.
We don't have a video.
Clearly here. Yeah, if we connect with the verse 4, it looks like he was not completely naked. He was buttocks uncovered. So he was half naked.
Half naked.
So, but the point is that was through 3 years.
Yeah.
And without shoes. Barefoot. And you know, shoes, I think, are important. It's connected to the way. It's connected even to the good news. It will take a look in the Brit Hadashah in the New Testament.
And when we remember Moshe, when YaHuWaH asked him to take off the shoes of his feet.
And but the timing is also interesting. It's talking about 3 years. It's a kind of it's too repetitive. The period of time when we talk about the Great Tribulation is 3.5 years. So giving a sign, because he did this as a sign of captivity, persecution, tribulation during a 3 years period of time. And the significance that it was done by the king of Ashur. And we were talking 2 weeks ago that the king of Ashur is a figure of the anti-Mashiach, the beast, the first beast. So, yeah, I agree with you, even though that I do believe that this could be something that already happened. I think it could bring additional information about the end times and what's going to happen with the system of the beast and the period of time that it's going to take.
Wow.
And just so comment from Karen here, no shoes speak of legal rights related to dominion, and I fully agree. I fully agree. Good.
Yeah.
A lot of mysteries.
Yeah. But YaHuWaH is always faithful.
And he is the one giving wisdom, so we need to continue reading the word. We need to continue asking for wisdom and understanding in order to see how everything is being connected to the end times and the times that we are living. I saw at the beginning a lot of comments about who is the small and tall people, and I saw a comment from the Yaakov Nasrayim inviting us to take a look in the Hebrew word, and I do believe that is an important advice, because sometimes we are getting lost on translation. So since this is a mysterious group of people, I think it's an important homework we need to do and take a look in the Hebrew word, because there is a lot of a discussion about who these people is and so on. I will invite each one of you to take a look in the Hebrew word, and let's take a look and just to see if YaHuWaH is opening our understanding to see who these people is, and to continue asking him to guide us in the understanding of his word, and to understand what are the times we are living and what is coming next. Just to be attentive and not to be, being led astray. Deceptions and mixed spirits and things like that.
Distracted. We have to be focused on him.
Good. Any final words? No?
That YaHuWaH amazed me, because I was reading this portion like 3 times, like in Spanish, in English, and we were discussing, and it was like, I don't know, for me it was like, I cannot understand anything. So it was very difficult. But
it's always difficult.
He's always providing.
Like he's always providing too.
Yeah. So that's beautiful.
So last request to all of you. I see 37 of you connected now. I see only 18 likes. Help us with liking this video. That's the way that this platform works. If there's more likes,
maybe somebody else is going to have them in
the possibility that this message
could reach
someone else is more high. So this is something that you can contribute with these studies, just to put the like. If you're not subscribed, subscribe as well, because I think those are the metrics that this platform is using in order to decide where to put this video and what people is being reached with this message. And we know we are in the business of the good news. It doesn't sound that interesting when we talk about business, but you understand the meaning. Is to bring the good news, and without money, without asking anything back, just relying on YaHuWaH to guide us. So everything we can do, and that should be your mindset as well. Everything we can do as the children of Israel and the children of YaHuWaH to spread the message, especially in this time of darkness, is something we should do it with all the willingness of our heart, and with the priority in our lives, in order to reach those who are in need of salvation and in need of light. So thank you so much for joining us today. It's a blessing, like always, and we really hope to see you next week, right?
Yeah, but willing, and we have to continue praying one for other, because we are family, even though we are far away. We are the family of YaHuWaH, wherever we are.
Absolutely. So thank you so much. YaHuWaH be with you all. We love you, and we expect to see you next week. So YaHuWaH be with you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
If you've been walking the same old road for miles and miles, if you've been hearing the same old voice tell the same old lies, if you've been trying to fill the same old holes inside, there's a better life. There's a better life. If you got pain, he's a pain taker. If you feel lost, he's a way maker. If you need freedom or saving, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, he's a chain breaker. We've all searched for the light of day in the dead of night. We've all found ourselves worn out from the same old fight. And we've all run to things we know that just ain't right. When there's a better life, there's a better life. If you got pain, he's a pain taker. If you feel lost, he's a way maker. If you need freedom or saving, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, he's a chain breaker. If you believe it, if you receive it, if you can feel it, somebody testify, yeah. If you believe it, and you receive it, if you can feel it, somebody testify, testify. If you believe it, and you receive it, and you can feel it, somebody testify. You got pain, he's a pain taker. If you feel lost, he's a way maker. If you need freedom or saving, he's a prison shaking savior. If you got chains, he's a chain breaker.